You're inside the Power Hour. I'm your host, DJ Larry Jones. And today I want to talk a little bit about domestic violence. Now, there's a lot of people out there going through some form of abuse, whether it's mental, physical, verbal, or sexual, and don't say anything because of fear. Today I have someone on the line who was in an abusive relationship and made it out. Ladies and gentlemen, Letitia. Letitia, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm pretty good today.
That's good. That's good. First off, thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I heard your story and, I had to have you on the show because this is something that needs to stop. And it's not, yes. And it's not only men doing it. You have some women who abuse men, actually.
Yes. People don't believe it, but it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen. Now, you were in a relationship. Was this your husband or your kid's father? Or?
He is my son's father.
Okay, son's father. And how long had you guys been together?
We were together about 5.5 years.
Now, how long were you together before you noticed what should have been a warning sign?
It started pretty early on within the first year, probably even sooner than that. I'm not good with timelines, but right. It happened pretty quick. And
how often would he get physical with you?
It was pretty often. It wasn't every day. It was maybe every few days. It was whenever he was angry enough.
Now, what would set him off? I mean, would it be like the smallest thing? What would happen? I mean,
anything. If I didn't do something the way he wanted it done, he would start beating me and yelling at me. Like one day I was trying to clean our hermit crab habitat, right. And he didn't like the way I was doing it. And he grabbed a wooden back scratcher and started beating me with it.
Wow. Okay, now take me to the day when enough was enough. What happened that day?
It was the first day that he was going to work. He didn't work the whole time we were together until the last week that I was there. And he was going to work, and he had found, I was using his computer, and he had found, he went through the search history, and he didn't like what he saw. And he came in the bedroom where I was with my baby and just started yelling at me and started beating me with my child next to me. And I had to raise up and protect my baby. And he just, he wouldn't let up. And I begged him to let me put the baby in his crib. And then I begged him to let me go to the bathroom. And he stood in the doorway and he was like, the only reason I haven't killed you is because then I'd have to kill myself because I'm not going to do jail time.
Wow.
And he was like, he said, I don't know who would take care of our son. And I knew then, I said to myself, if I don't get out of here, he's going to kill me. And that was on a Monday. And by that Friday, I was able to take the baby and escape.
What were some of the injuries that you sustained?
He left a lot of bruises on my back and just different parts of my body. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Take your time.
I have a lot of emotional problems now,
right.
and I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and I have been in counseling and therapy for the past 9 years, and there are still things that trigger memories. And
now, where is he now? Is he still out there? Is he in jail? Where is he now?
I don't know. I only received one email from him in 2010. And after that, I received messages from people that said they were trying to get a hold of me, but he didn't know they were trying to get a hold of me. And I guess they wanted to surprise him or something. But I don't know anything about him. I haven't heard from anybody since 2015, and I'm hoping to keep it that way. And I don't know.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and go into a song right quick, and then we'll come back to your story. Keep it locked in right here. It's the Power Hour.
Some people have seen where God has brought you from. don't really understand it. They don't know your story.
You don't know my story. You don't know
the things.
You don't know the things that I've come through. You cannot imagine. Pain, the trials I've had to endure. You don't know my story.
You're listening to the Power Hour. I'm your host, DJ Larry Jones, and we're back talking to Letitia, a domestic violence victim. And I mentioned at the beginning that people are afraid to tell anyone because of fear. What was some of the things he would tell you if you threatened to tell anybody?
He constantly threatened to kill me. He said if I got the cops involved, that he would kill me. He would kill my family. That was like his go-to threat was, I was going to die if anything happened. And he said he told me that if he ended up in jail, that he would make bail and hunt me down and put a bullet in my brain. And yeah, he threatened to, like I said, kill my family. He told me at one point, when I was threatening to leave, it was shortly before I did leave. And he said, if you take the baby, I will hunt you down and I will kill you and I will kill your family. And he said, I will cut off your head and stick it on a knife and put it in your mom's yard so she can find it.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. And it was just threat after threat after threat.
Now, I take it you're not in the same state with this guy now, right? You completely moved away?
Right.
Okay. Now, the day comes where you say, this is it. I got to get out of here. Who do you turn to for help?
Well, I called my sister to begin with because she'd always said that I could come stay with her. And I couldn't get through to her. I was at a payphone and he had gone to work and I went to the payphone and I couldn't get through to her and I was just standing there crying and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what steps to take. Right. And one of my neighbors came by. She was going into the laundry room where we lived and she saw me crying and she started talking to me. And she had been a victim herself in her relationship. And she was like, this is what you need to do. And so I went to her apartment and we talked and she, helped me make the phone calls that I needed to make. And we called the police and we packed up our stuff, what we could. I mean, I left a lot of stuff. I just brought like essentials.
Right.
And she took me to a safe house while the police were getting an emergency protection order against my abuser.
Mm-hmm.
And after the EPO was granted, then she drove me to my sister's house, which is actually a pretty long way. So,
and he doesn't know. Does he know your sister, where she lives? Does he, know all of that at the time?
Yeah. Yeah. She actually lived below us at one point in the apartments that we were at. And then she moved away. And about 2 weeks, I think it was, after we had left, me and the baby, and we got the EPO, then we had to go to court. I had to go back and go to court for a domestic violence order. And I was granted one for 3 years, which is the maximum time that you can get one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only reason I got one was because he admitted that he had hit me at one point.
Okay. Now, did he go to jail?
No, he did not.
Okay. Now, what is your life like today? I know you said you're going through some stuff now. I mean, mentally, where are you at? Are you doing okay?
I am doing a lot better. This was about 9 years ago when I finally left him. And through the counseling that I've been in, I'm doing a lot better. I used to have nightmares all the time. I couldn't sleep, very well. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to be in the dark. I didn't want to be alone. I didn't want to go outside my apartment. I just, I wanted to be inside where it was safe. And now, now I'm able, I go out, I work, I, go to church, and I'm around people, and I go downtown, and I walk around, and I take my son to the park, and
wow.
And it's a lot better. I have to say though that after you contacted me, and I'm going back through all of these memories, and I've started having nightmares again.
Oh no!
The last few nights I started having nightmares. But it's a process you have to go through.
Now, what words of advice would you give to someone who's going through the same thing? What would you tell them? What would you advise them to do?
Do not stay silent. That is the number one thing. Do not stay silent. I know that the abuser will put fear into their victims, and they will threaten them if they say anything, but absolutely tell someone, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get help and to maybe get out of it.
Well, I want to thank you so much for calling in and sharing that with us.
Sure.
Because I'm pretty sure there's someone out there listening who's probably going through the same thing, and knowing that they're not alone.
Right.
know? So I want to thank you.
That's the big thing, because if I may go on.
Right. No, go ahead. The abusers will do their best to isolate the victim, and they will, they'll pull them away from their friends and their family. Uh-huh.
And because they want the victim to depend on them. They like they're the only person that is there for them. And, that's just, it's all about control, basically.
That's crazy.
And so, I mean, absolutely. If somebody out there is going through this, please, there's a domestic violence hotline that can be called. There's all kinds of information online. If they have a trusted friend or family member that they can, talk to, and try to get help. Sometimes you have to be, I don't want to say sneaky, but you kind of do have to be sneaky because the abuser is always, going to be there threatening.
Yeah. And you don't know what he's going to do once he find out.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't know what's going to set them off.
Right.
So, the victim becomes this timid, meek, oh, I can't do this, or he or she is going to, retaliate in this way. And that's what the abuser wants. Mm. So, call the police. Absolutely. If you hear anyone, if you hear your neighbors, if there's a fight going on, call the police. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't want to. They don't want to get involved.
Yeah, they don't want to get involved. They just don't. But,
exactly. They don't. But you can save somebody's life,
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I thank you so much for calling in.
Well, thank you.
And just remember, we're just a phone call away, okay? If you need anything.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Keep it locked in right here, 99.1 FM.